the system of losing weight there was not healthy. To walk for 6 hours a day, every single day, and lift super heavy weights constantly and have so much weight on your bones to begin with, that's a recipe for hurting yourself. And then on top of that, nobody was watching what they were doing. There was no nutritional handholding. And so people were just eating as little as they could. My dad, who'd gone no sugar, no grains with Vinny, said, "You need to go carnivore." And I was like, no way. Because we've been told you can eat all the plants you want. And looking back, I was eating a lot of plants actually, because those were what was easiest for me to digest. So I decide January 2023, I am going carnivore. The hypoglycemia, gone. The neuropathy, gone. The food reactions went way down. The sleeping got way better.
If you've been watching, you know that I take my ingredients very seriously, but there are 3 companies that I have found that I absolutely love. Check the description for discount codes.
My name is Adrian Gledhill, and today I'm going to tell you the story of how I went from being on the TV show The Biggest Loser to being a carnivore. So I'm going to start with when I was a little kid. I mean, so many of us have struggled with this. I was overweight my whole life. I don't think there was ever a moment in my life when I wasn't overweight. I remember being a little kid and looking at my thighs as I was going to the bathroom and thinking, wow, I've got big thighs. I don't know who put these thoughts in my mind, but I do remember as soon as I hit elementary school, a lot of the kids were bullying me for being overweight. I was the biggest kid in elementary school. I'm already 100 pounds. So my whole weight, I am struggling. I'm being told I need to eat less, even as a little tiny child. But I remember not being able to be full. I never was full. My dad was a single dad. She wasn't ready to be a mom, so she had left. So my dad was 22 with me and my sister. So 2 little girls, all with this young guy. And he moves in with his mom, who is struggling from alcoholism. And she was really struggling and really took it out on me because my parents weren't married when I was born. So it's kind of a rough little kid upbringing. And my dad is doing his best. And we don't have a ton of money. We're eating a lot of the standard American foods. We're eating a lot of goulash, we called it, which was mac and cheese mixed with vegetables, tomato sauce, and some hamburger. We'd also eat a lot of spaghetti. And I remember thinking like I could eat plates and plates of spaghetti even as a little girl. And I remember just being told to stop eating. And I remember after every meal still being hungry, still wanting to eat more. Because my dad had to work so hard, I spent a lot of time at babysitters, like full time. And I remember just thinking like they never fed me enough. And I was always hungry. And I remember, when we were in elementary school, we'd get the days where they would give out the peanuts and raisins. And I remember just savoring those peanuts and raisins because I got that extra snack every day. So as a young child, it's kind of a tougher upbringing, not a smooth, easy one. So many of us have that in our past, and that I used food for comfort. When I got sick, there was no mom there to comfort me, so I used food. When I was at a babysitter's house, I wasn't home, I wasn't comfortable, so I used food. When the kids would pick on me or my grandma would scream at me and call me bad names, I would use food for comfort. There was times in elementary school too, I could tell you all the jokes. I remember so many of them. There's boys that would just follow me around and say boom every time I was stepping and say I was shaking china. So really young, I get this thing inside me that I'm not lovable and I'm fat, so I'm less than everyone else. I don't love myself. And so what that turns into in high school is a girl who joins every single sport, every single activity, wants to lead all the activities. And I thought that other people would value me if I was a great athlete, if I was the top clarinetist, if I was the smartest kid in class. And so I would strive to be the best in everything, hoping that people would finally love me. And what I didn't realize at the time was that I was trying to figure out how to love myself. And since none of those achievements made me love myself, I was a miserable person. I was very, very anxious, on edge, unapproachable. I didn't have a lot of boyfriends or anything because I was just very unapproachable because I was so tense. So I go to college, and this is the best because I can finally relieve that tension with some alcohol. And also we've got unlimited food. So I immediately go from being in the 160s in high school to the 230s, 220s, 230s in college. And I just remember thinking, no one's ever going to love me. I'm less than other people. No one's ever going to date me. Oh, I didn't think my friends valued me as much because I was so overweight. And I went home and my stepmom and I went on an Atkins diet. And this was my first time losing some weight. I think I got back down to the 180s and I was feeling great. But I transferred to a party school, the University of North Dakota, and I started partying and I gained all my weight back. And so again, I'm in that spot. I'm unlovable. Nobody's ever going to love me. I don't love myself. I don't value myself. Now I'm not doing good in school. I went from being a straight A student in high school to being a straight BC student in college. And I try to overcompensate with things. Like I did an internship where you sell books door to door and you work so hard. And I did pretty well. And I earned a trip to Costa Rica. I studied abroad in the Czech Republic and Slovak Republic. And it just trying to find value somewhere and just not feeling good. And I remember when I went to Europe, I didn't have any clothes that fit me. And over there, they didn't use a lot of air conditioning. So I really needed some shorts, but I didn't really bring many with me. And I remember being so uncomfortable trying to find some European clothes to fit me. And I just couldn't. So I'm so uncomfortable in my own skin. And that's when I see this TV show, The Biggest Loser. If I'm going to be honest, I had never even seen the show. I just knew I saw the befores and afters, and I was like, that is what I need in my life. And my stepmom, she joked around that we were going to apply together. But honestly, I'm still thinking like, here I am, this small town girl. No one will ever pick me. No one loves me. But then I have a dream. And I'm telling you, this dream was so vivid. And in this dream, God said, Adrian, you are going to be on The Biggest Loser. And I woke up like, this is just remarkably vivid. So I save up all my pennies and my friends and I drive 4.5 hours, I think it was, or 5 hours to Minneapolis to the Mall of America. We go to an open casting call. I don't get diverted off. I never hear anything. Nothing happens there. But I have this dream that this is going to happen. So I reach out to people looking for a video because in 2005, there was no cameras on our phones. So I'm looking for a way to make an audition video that I can send in. And a friend from high school's mom had an old VHS camera in her garage that had been out there many winters. The battery didn't work anymore. You had to plug it in to use it. So here we are with this extension cord doing different things. And then there was no way for me to edit it. So I'll go into that in a second. But here were my things. I did a snow angel in the snow in a bikini. I did a cartwheel in a bikini. I did a segment crying about how I'd been overweight my whole life. So this is my video. This is like super bad quality. And I send it in. And I don't remember how long it was. It felt like forever. I get this random email. I mean, it was like stacyjohnson@gmail.com stating that I had made it to the next level, the next stage in The Biggest Loser. And I'm like, is this real? Because it didn't come from Biggest Loser at biggestloser.com. It came from, Stacy Johnson at Gmail. But I decided, I'll go with it. I had this dream, so we'll go with it. And I went through the process. Next thing you know, I'm being sent this contract. The contract was like this big. And I'm a nervous wreck. Like my dreams could come true of finally not being big. And so my stepmom had to come drive all the way across the state because my college was like 4.5 hours from home. I'm from Duluth, Minnesota. And she comes over and she reads every single page with me. And I have to initial every page. So we go through this contract. And next thing you know, I'm getting on a plane to go to California. And I'm thinking, still to this point, I wonder if this is like a hoax. Like if when I get there, am I going to be axe murdered or is this real or what? Because it still was just like stacyjohnson@gmail.com. But I went and it was real. And it turned out that there was 50 of us, one person from every state. And so I'm so excited. First thing we do is we get evaluated by the doctor. And he does so many tests on us. We go in a bod pod, which is like an egg that checks your body composition. We do a DEXA scan that is like a Xerox for your whole body. It can tell your bone density and your muscle and your fat and your water and all the things. I think we floated in a tub so they could check our weight and stuff there. Very scientific blood work is done. We do the treadmill where they put the patches on you and check your heart. All the things. They do extensive medical testing and documentation prior to the show. So some of the people did not pass the test to be able to be on the show. And I'll tell you more about them in a second. But so we're sequestered in this hotel. We're not allowed to talk to the other people. We still don't know what's going on, but I know game on. So I ask for them to send me pizza and a whole case of water. And what do they send me? California pizza. If you haven't been to California, like everything is healthy there. And I'm like, no, I'm trying to gain a couple pounds here for the show. They send me this like gluten-free, low-carb, low-fat pizza with some spinach and tomatoes on top, and it's made out of feta cheese. And I'm like, okay, fine. So already we're eating healthy, but I try to drink as much water as possible for this initial weigh-in, which now I've learned doesn't help because that just makes you pee. But I tried. So we do our weigh-in, which is not what, I don't remember. I think it was either down the hallway on a scale or it was in the doctor's office. I don't remember. And then we're not allowed to talk to anyone. At this point, we're not even allowed to talk to our family. Our phones have been taken. And so we're just in this hotel room by ourselves. The minute that they start weighing me, they don't realize it is on. I am sitting in there doing lunges, doing push-ups, moving. I don't even know if I slept that first night. I was like, so we head to the ranch to do our first filming. This is our first time getting to see everyone. I initially bond with this gal, Angie from Georgia. We just like best friends from the minute we met. And we do all this filming. It's so exciting. It's so fun. We're in Semi Valley. So we're in the Hummingbird Ranch. It is so beautiful. It's this equestrian park. It's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. This huge grounds, and it's flat in the middle of this. There's just hills all around it. It's very private. It's gorgeous. There's a mansion. It's got multiple gyms, a beautiful kitchen. I mean, it was gorgeous. So this is so exciting. And they film us hiking through hiking through the hills. They film us walking around. They do all this filming. They catch our reactions. They start interviewing some people. They did not interview me. And then we come to this field, and there's Caroline Rhea on the stage. Caroline Rhea from Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And we're like, oh my gosh, this is happening. Let's find out how this game is. At this point, I'm thinking every one of us is part of the show. This is so exciting. I'm thinking there's 50 of us. This is so exciting. And then Caroline Rhea breaks it to us that only 14 are going to be staying and the rest will be going home. So one by one, they get picked up. They go up on the stage, and I find out it's not me. And I'm hugging Angie. I am so sad. I am like, all my dreams. What was the point of even bringing us here? I was devastated. And so they do some exit interviews of certain people I think that they think are going to come back. They don't exit interview me. No one talks to me at all. We go back to the hotel, and we find out the 36 of us are going to have a little boot camp, and whoever loses the most weight at home will get to come back on the show. So this boot camp is with Dr. Huizenga, the doctor for the show, a nutritionist, her name was Cheryl, and also a psychologist, and they give us a plan. Each one of us got an individualized plan based on all those scans that the doctor had done on us. So for me, the standard American dieting type of thing, really break it up and then do 2 workouts a day, one in the morning for like an hour and a half, one in the afternoon, lift something every day and do some cardio. So we've all got our plans and we're going to go home. We were given a gym membership. I want to say we got some Jenny-O turkey certificates because they were the sponsor that year, and we were sent on our way. And we were also sent with a video camera so we could do video diaries every day or whenever. So we're doing these video diaries, physically mailing in tapes. Isn't that funny? And we're having weekly calls. So there is quite a bit of support actually for us at-home people. We've got a plan. We've got support. We've got work to do. They're checking in with us. It felt like forever. So I go home and I follow the plan to a T, and then I work for my dad. He owns a rental store, London Road Rental, here in Duluth, Minnesota, and that's a manual labor job. So I'm working out in the morning really early, then I'm on my feet all day lifting and moving stuff, and then I'm doing my exercise in the evening. And what I did to set my goals and to keep myself focused was watch all the previous seasons, and I wrote down who were the top people for each week and how much did they lose, and that's how much I want to keep up with. So I'm working my butt off, and I'm seeing I am not keeping up with these people at all. So then we had our weigh-in where they said, okay, we need you to go to the doctor and get weighed in. And I think they ran some blood tests too. They asked us to all get blood tests run and to get weighed in and to send that verified documentation to them. And I find out I made the top 3 women. So they decided to bring 3 women and 3 men back. And I am totally shocked because I was not keeping up with the previous seasons at all. So, but I'm like, well, I mean, I get a free trip to California to be part of the top 3. I'm sure I didn't win because I'm not keeping up, but we'll go, and I'm going back on. I'm going to be part of the show now and be part of the cast. Dr. Huizenga had warned me. He said, listen, Adrian, things on the ranch are not the same as at home, and you need to stick to your guns and stick to what you're doing. And he looked worried. And he was right. I get onto the show, and immediately the girls are running around like we're in high school. They are moving beds, blocking doors. They're like, we hate you. We don't want you here. It's like worse than high school. It's worse than middle school, I would say. The cattiness, the hostility. Now, the men, they're just kind of low drama, and they're like, yeah, we're kind of annoyed you're here, but whatever. And they didn't act the same. It was the girls that did this. And so it's just really uncomfortable. And then the trainers, they were kind of blown away that we had beat all their contestants. So they weren't too excited about us either. Because here they're working with these people. This is their job. And here we had beat them at home. And they also had been working with these people the whole season. So they wanted them, they'd already built those relationships, and they wanted them to succeed, the players that they had. So the 2 trainers in my season were Kim Lyons and Bob Harper. So Jaron and I ended up working with Kim. And there's a little bit of struggle if you ever get to watch. I was on season 3 of The Biggest Loser. There was a little bit of struggle because I could hear Dr. Huizenga in my head saying, you don't need to work with a trainer. Just keep doing what you're doing because you're winning. Like, you're doing great. You're doing exactly for your body what you need to be doing. Don't change it. So there was a little hesitation there, and eventually I just kind of caved because you're alone. You don't know it, but on reality TV, there's cameras in every single corner. They're watching you constantly. You have a microphone on so that they can hear everything you're saying. You're not allowed to talk to your family. It's a very, very lonely, weird place to be. I mean, can you imagine walking around and having a camera follow you everywhere you go? So, I mean, you're pooping and they're listening to you. You're crying and they're listening to you. You messed up your makeup and you say a swear word, they're listening to you. It's a very lonely place. And on top of that, the gameplay is 24/7. If you're sleeping, someone else might be working out, might be talking about you. Have you ever watched Big Brother? The game is 24/7. The people barely sleep. It's kind of traumatizing. So to pile weight loss on top of that, and then what you don't know, why I didn't keep up with the previous years, was because a week on TV is not the same as a week of filming. A week of filming can be 3 weeks. I don't remember how many weeks. It was long. It was really long. And that's why I wasn't keeping up with the previous seasons. It's very unlikely, now that I've said this and you go look back and you see someone losing 30 pounds in a week, do you think that that's real? I mean, especially if it's like week 4 or 5. I mean, week 1, okay, you're losing some inflammation. Okay, that might be possible. But like week 5, you really think people are losing 30 pounds in a week? Yeah, no. So that's a secret there that, so not only is this gameplay intense, exhausting, but it goes on for months. And you compile on that, when you lose weight, your fat cells extinguish what's in them. So there's toxins, there's hormones, there's estrogen. And so that's why when people are losing weight, sometimes they're a little off kilter. They're a little bit more emotional. It's because all of that extra is flooding their bloodstream. So you've got all those hormones and stuff flooding the bloodstream. You've got the pressure cooker of being on reality TV, and you've got the extended period of time. So you just got the recipe for a really good TV show. On top of that, they did personality tests. I believe personality test was part of our application. And honestly, I'm going to go, after meeting my fellow contestants, some of them, the more nuts, the better. I mean, that must be how I got on. So the girls, they're not having it. They're not excited. They just lost their best friend on the show, and here we are replacing them. We've beat them. We've been with our family. This is, I mean, if you could imagine how hard that was for them. And then it was extra hard for us as well, because I don't know if there's ever any coming back from that. I didn't make it any better. So here's I'm 22 and blonde, and I beat all of you, and I'm everything's going great. I've been with my family. And then they take us to a movie because once in a while we did get to leave the ranch. So they take us to a movie. And instead of, sitting down and enjoying the movie with everyone, I was in the back of the theater marching. I brought my own popcorn. And let me tell you, now it's so cringy. I put the fake salt on it. So it's low sodium salt. And then I sprayed, I cannot believe it's not butter on it because I was trying to be healthy. So here I am eating carbs and seed oils and chemical. If I would have known then what I know now, right? So anyway, this is a horrible way to build rapport. But here I am just trying to beat them all, So we go into our first competitions, and all the competitions we were in pretty much were political. So Jaron and I were screwed. The very first one, the person that guessed this thing, which is a total crapshoot, how many calories are in this? Well, that can vary based on, I think one of the items was a burger. Okay, well, we don't know if that's an 80-20 burger or a 70-30 burger, or if it's a 90-10. We don't, it's such a crapshoot. So they load us up to make sure we can't win. The next competition, you were bicycling in the sky, and once you hit a marker, you got to vote someone down, and whoever hit the ground first was out. So it was a voting game. So everybody ganged up and voted me out first. Well, I had lost so much weight and I was so tiny. There was just no winning that, but I tried. I do want to say, I feel like since I get to voice it, when the very first competition, somebody got to move 1,000 pounds of water bottles, the big jugs. And then somebody got to move 1,000 pounds of tires. Okay, so nice big tires. And then we had to move 1,000 pounds of bricks. So that was 1,000 bricks. And so we did not finish the competition because the bricks were ripping up our arms and we would have been there all night. They would have never even let us finish it because it literally would have taken hours. But they said, see, look at those losers. They didn't even finish the competition. But then when it came to actually running, and Jaron and I were the most fit there, and then they refused to even participate because they knew they were going to lose. I'm just throwing that out there. Should probably do some writing and journaling on that one. Anyway, okay, so that was the competitions. I thought the competitions were a lot of fun, but I wish all the competitions were like, who could run the farthest, who could lift the fastest, who could solve this puzzle and then run in a circle or swim or what, if it would have been more of like a ability-based competition, it would have been, to me, so much more fun. So if I ever get a chance to be on reality TV again, I want to be on like The Challenge or Big Brother. There's some politics there, but anyway, so that's the competitions. Okay, so once I became a contestant on the show, I was no longer allowed to speak with Dr. Huizenga. I was no longer allowed the psychologist or the nutritionist. And guys, the show is not what it seems. They did not have any of those tools either. They had their trainers, and the trainers were there mostly when the cameras were there, but then they would pop in here and there too. So these people were on their own. They have to cook their own food. Not a ton of, you would just think that their hands were being held, and they weren't. Another thing that was very interesting is Jaron and I were not injured, but all the people on the ranch were having injury. And what does make me sad as I look back is, number one, they're yelling at these contestants like, I'm here to save your life. I'm here to save you from you. And now that I know what I know, I feel like that's really sad. And then the other thing is, what was I going to say? I'm here to save you from you. You just think that there's more tools. Oh, when people are injured, they play it off like, look, they're trying to get out of their workouts. And this is the problem with why they're so overweight, because they're so weak that they can't even complete their workout. And in reality, all these people had overuse injury because the system of losing weight there was not healthy. To walk for 6 hours a day, every single day, and lift super heavy weights constantly and have so much weight on your bones to begin with, that's a recipe for hurting yourself. And then on top of that, nobody was counting nobody was watching what they were doing. There wasn't a ton of nutritional there was no nutritional hand-holding. And so people were just eating as little as they could. And then there was no psychologist there. So the only person on set was a trainer who could wrap up your injuries. That's all we had. They got them from like the NFL. And I remember I was having difficulty sleeping and I was getting all these leg cramps. And so I was trying to get a hold of the doctor, but I wasn't allowed to talk to him. And so they would just kind of relay messages slowly through. And I never got that seen or fixed. I just continued to have that issue. issues that were festering on the ranch were not really being handled. The ranch that we were at was called the Hummingbird Nest Ranch. In 2016, it sold for $33 million. It was absolutely gorgeous. And I mean, it was the life, And then the gym, here's the weird thing about the gym. So they put like an indoor gym where there's air conditioning that was just like in a bedroom or something. It was just in a little area of the mansion. And then the main gym, guys, it was a vinyl tent that looked like a brick building. And it was black in the middle of the desert. So here we are in the middle of the desert, no air conditioning. Well, there was air conditioning, but here's another spoiler for you. The reason people are sweating and throwing up at the Last Chance workout is because in order to film, we had to turn the air conditioning off because it was affecting the mics. And so within minutes of working out in there, you could throw up. This is so unhealthy. You're going to maybe gain some inflammation, but the idea that if you just work out harder, you're going to lose pounds right before the weigh-in, it's just not true. But I digress. So that's the truth. It was a beautiful, beautiful location that our season was in, but the gym was fake. Now, I want to tell you about weigh-ins. We actually weighed in maybe earlier that morning, and people were playing games. Like, if you thought you were in trouble, you weren't drinking water. You were trying to reduce your water weight. And if you felt you were safe, you were guzzling. You were guzzling to try to inflate your weight so that you would have a cushion for next week when you pee all that out. So we would weigh in that morning, and then the actual filming of the weigh-ins was at night, and it would take hours and hours and hours. They would film us over and over and over again walking into the weigh-in. Then they would film as you were stepping up to the scale over and over again. Then they would film the actual weigh-in over and over again. So I remember my final weigh-in when I knew I was going home. I was a puddle. And they filmed it 2 times, and then instead of doing it a 3rd time, they knew, like, we're not getting anything out of this girl whose dreams have just been crushed. So those were the weigh-ins. We couldn't have fans for those either, but that's why they filmed them at night because it was nice and cold. I do have to say, we got to order whatever food we wanted, and it was beautiful. We had the most beautiful, if I wanted to eat smoked salmon for every single meal, I could have. We were primarily eating low-fat plants, and a lot of plant. We were told, eat all the plant you want, plants will never make you gain weight, and then eat a little bit of meat. And then everything was low fat. All the dressings, everything was low fat. So since we did our weigh-ins in the morning, I do want to say that everybody weighed in pretty much naked. Also, speaking of naked, when I got on set, I was told that pretty much on every season, people were hooking up. And this didn't make the show, obviously, but people were hooking up. And, it makes sense. Your hormones are extinguishing out of your body. You're losing weight. You're feeling better. You're lonely because you're sequestered here. And people are hooking up. And that's on every single reality TV show, pretty much. People are hooking up. Okay, so the time comes. I haven't lost enough weight. They get rid of me as fast as they can. And my heart is absolutely crushed. And I need to go home and continue to lose weight because there's a period of, I don't know, maybe like 2 or 3 months in between the filming and the finale. I did get to do I got to do the makeover episode, and that was really cool. I got my hair done. I got dresses. We did a photo shoot. I was on the cover of a magazine or inside the magazine. It was so much fun. That part was really cool. Okay, so I get voted off. I have to go home now, and I'm devastated. I'm scared. I'm devastated. I feel that all of my dreams are over. And this triggered me to begin what is about to be. So on the ranch, between home and the ranch, I lost 66 pounds. I'm going to say that was within 4 months, something like that. Then I am now about to start what is going to become a over 100 pound weight gain. So I go home. I try to keep up with what I'm doing. I have to go back to college. I'd actually dropped out of college for halfway through the semester to do this opportunity. So I had to come back, repeat a semester, and I'm trying to do my best to stick to my stuff, but I go back to my party school and I go back to my partying ways. And it's like a slow creep, You're like, okay, I can have, 1 glass of wine. That 1 glass of wine makes you feel like crud. So next thing you know, you're eating crud. And next thing you know, you're on a tailspin, So I've never publicly talked about this, but my family and friends know that there was an evening where one of the activities that some people do in the college I went to is that you drink and you drive out in the fields because even if you got in a car accident at 30 miles an hour, you're going to hit corn. So on our way back from this ridiculous activity. I get pulled over by a campus cop about a half a block from our dorm. And my passenger is not turning 21 for a week. We have an open container, so I get slammed with 3 tickets, driving under the consumption, open container, and contributing to a minor. Now, I was very fortunate. The officer did not come to my hearing. They dropped most of it and gave me I did some community service. But this is my downward spiral. I go to the finale and I had actually already gained weight. I weighed in at 168 instead of 161. So I'd gained 7 pounds by the finale. I think I was the only contestant to gain weight. I mean, I am struggling here, guys. And that after the show was over, I just continued to gain weight. I think within a year, I was up to 265 pounds and I had started at 227, something like 227, 228. So I more than gained my weight back almost instantly. I was so depressed. I was so ashamed. I was so scared. I just felt like a total failure. And that just triggered more drinking and more drinking. And it was awful, guys. So I have my first 2 kids. I get married. I have my first 2 kids and I decide I'm not going to have drinking around my kids because my grandma drank around me and it was very, very bad. And I don't want my kids to be around that. So as soon as my daughter is born, I quit drinking and I join a 12-step program. And that's kind of where my life starts turning around, is the 12-step program. So I quit drinking, I start losing some weight, I start running and restricting again. I get down to like 220 pounds, and then my weight starts going back up. I am panicking, like I cannot do this again. I cannot gain all this weight back. I can't. So that's when I asked some of the fellow Biggest Losers, like, what are you guys doing? Because some people had lost their weight again and kept it off. And they said bariatric surgery. So I decide I'm going to have gastric bypass because I cannot do this. I cannot be big ever again. I gotta do something. And it doesn't matter what I try. It's not working. I'm broken and I need to be fixed. I need someone to fix me. So I go in and I have gastric bypass and I'm starting to feel better too because I'm losing some weight. But then again, all these hormones are going crazy. So I'm also just a little bit batty. You can ask anybody. I scarred people. I was not doing well after my surgery. I mean, I did the whole liquid diet thing and that just makes people really emotional. I was mad because I could no longer eat other foods. I was mad because people were eating the other foods in front of me. I was so emotional. So I do end up going from about 227 again down to 165. But that's when I started getting sick. That's when the hypoglycemia started. And I just was not okay. I didn't know what it was at first. I just knew that suddenly I would start shaking, sweating, and need to pass out, really tired, not feeling good. I did not know what it was. I eventually find out it's this hypoglycemia. But also in here is a divorce. So I'm having these health issues. My weight loss has stopped. I'm having a divorce. There's custody issues, so much stress. Now there's financial issues because I'm off on my own. I'm just not feeling well, and the weight starts to creep up again. The surgery did not solve my issues. I had gone through the counseling. I had gone through the nutritional. I already knew the nutritional thing. I knew how to run. I mean, I'm running literally I'm running half marathons and I'm eating between 800 and 1200 low fat, low calorie foods, low calories, 800 and 1200 calories. And my weight is still creeping up now. And I don't know, the next few years is just a struggle. I meet my husband, who we've been together now for 9 years, and we go to have a baby and we get pregnant right away. But then we lose our baby at 20 weeks out of nowhere. We had genetic testing done and everything. There was nothing wrong. Just all of a sudden she wasn't there. They have no idea. They have no answers for me, and they don't even run any tests because they say it was just too early. So we bury our baby and we go to have another baby, and we're not getting pregnant. And it takes a year to get pregnant. Just really weird stuff starts happening too. So we finally do get pregnant after a year, and I've done everything. I had no intervention in this birth. There was no medication, no IV, nothing. And I don't have any milk. And I didn't have any milk with my first 2 either. I'm struggling with my weight. I don't have any milk. I have postpartum depression. My babies have all had colic. Something's just up. So we go on with life. I'm really tired and I'm still struggling with hypoglycemia. I'm cutting all the things, and I'm pretty much down to low glycemic vegetables and low fat meat. And that's primarily what I was eating, but yet I'm struggling with my weight and I'm having this hypoglycemia, which doesn't make any sense because hypoglycemia should be caused by sugar and I'm not eating sugar. So we accidentally get pregnant with my baby number 5, I guess, but baby number 4 on Earth's side. And this time I'm going to do everything right because I want milk for this baby. So I birth him at home. I have a great home birth. We stay home, we stay skin to skin, and there's still no milk. So at that point, that's when we ran some tests. Now, what I skipped was while I was pregnant with this last child, I got the bad virus, and I've never been the same since having it. After I gave birth and I've had this bad virus, now every time I eat, I'm getting sick. My arms and legs are going numb. I'm having terror, and it's coming on at night. And sometimes it's actually happening after I drink certain electrolytes. So this terror is coming on. I can no longer drive. It's like I would drive for 12 minutes and then I'll start falling asleep. Or I'll start having breathing problems, or my arms and legs will go numb. This is debilitating. And my husband works on the road, so I'm the primary caretaker for all these kids, and my body is falling apart. I can't go up and down the stairs without getting so fatigued that I need to go to bed. I'm unable to sleep through the night. I'm peeing all the time. And in the middle of the night, I wake up every single night, multiple times, need to go pee. And I literally can't even walk down the hall. I'm like stumbling down the hall. One of the final things that just totally, totally freaked me out was the day that I went to the gym and I saw black figures behind me while I was cycling in a cycle class. So I'm hallucinating, you guys. This is debilitating. And here's the thing. I would tell everybody around me, I can't breathe. And they're like, listen, honey, you need some psychological medicine. Maybe you need some therapy. Maybe we need you to see a psychologist. I'm like, listen, guys, I don't feel good. They're like, why can't you do your laundry? And I'm like, I literally cannot. I have no energy to go up and down the stairs. I look back at the pictures of me at that time and I am a ghost. I look green. I look sick. But yet people around me did not see it. They were like, you seem fine to us. And I'm like, listen, we just ate at this restaurant and now I can't feel my arms and my legs and my throat is starting to close up. It was so debilitating. And every time I ate again, I'm keeled over in bed. So I am so miserable. And my hypoglycemia I'm just on the verge of low blood sugar all the time, despite eating this super restrictive diet. I mean, I had cut grains, artificial sweeteners, all the things. I cut all the things. I'm eating vegetables and lean meats, which, by the way, I had started a quail farm. We had 600 quails, 20 rabbits, and we did 100 meat chickens. So I'm really tired, guys. And I live on almost 5 acres by myself that needs to be plowed and shoveled. And I've got all these kids and a baby and I'm exhausted. So the doctor I start working with the outside doctor and she runs some tests nobody's ever run before. And she goes, your adrenals are shot. You have Hashimoto's, and you need to change. Something needs to change. You on the inside are not doing okay. You will not be able to continue on like this. This is a path to incredible disease. You need rest. You need help. And I tell this to my husband and he's like, what am I supposed to do? I'm the provider for this family. Like, I can't quit my job. And I'm like, but I can't keep doing what I'm doing. So a couple things I did. I got a babysitter sometimes. I had everybody come to us to help us. And we got someone to help clean the house a couple times a month. And she was amazing. But I'm still not feeling better. And that's when my dad, who'd gone no sugar, no grains with Vinny, said, you need to go carnivore. And I was like, no way. Because we've been told you can eat all the plants you want. And looking back, I was eating a lot of plants actually, because those were what was easiest for me to digest. Ground beef, eggs, those were hard for my gastric bypass stomach. I forgot to mention, since the surgery, I also have been struggling with anemia and have had to have iron infusions and probably some other nutrient deficiencies from the rerouting of my gut. So on top of all the things. So it's hard for me to eat meat. How am I supposed to do this? But I am so sick that I'm like, I got to try something. And honestly, I had gotten up to 202 pounds. And this was about a year after giving birth to Valmer. And so I wanted to lose weight too. That was a big indicator there. Another thing that was going through my mind was when I got sober from alcohol, I was thinking, man, I wish I could have that with food. Like, but how would you do it? You have to eat. So So I decide January 2023, I am going carnivore because I need to heal and I need to lose weight. And did I not know what I was in store for? This feeling that I had inside my heart, no matter what medication I took, no matter how much prayer I had, no matter how much therapy I had, this angst feeling would not go away until I stopped eating the vegetables. The hypoglycemia, gone. The green beans and lettuce were affecting my hormones to the point that I couldn't regulate insulin properly, and my body didn't know what to do with food. So the hypoglycemia, gone. The neuropathy, gone. The food reactions went way down. The sleeping got way better. So many things just got way better. I initially lost like 15 pounds, like really quickly. But then the weight loss stopped. Then some of the symptoms came back. And that's when I heard Judy Cho talk about chronic inflammatory response syndrome. And the minute that I heard her say it, I knew that's what I had. Next was trying to convince my family that I needed to get this very expensive testing done and that we needed to renovate our home. And while it's being renovated, I can't live in it. So that chapter was really, really hard. So I'm eating these foods. I'm feeling a lot better, but I'm still having regression. I'm still not feeling well. The weight loss has stopped. Some things that I tried then to continue to move the weight were, I also this entire time was incorporating exercise and movement. So I'm finally taking some time for myself to move. In the beginning, I went back to my running and those workout classes where you move weights really fast constantly for 45 minutes. But later on, I start moving to more gentle movement, walking, weightlifting at my own pace. That's one thing that has really changed. I still do races, but I walk them. It's just very sustainable for me. And now I'm going to start working since I can walk to 13 miles easily. Now I'm going to add some weight to my walks and keep moving there. But so we do end up moving out of our home and renovating it. That was really hard to get through that. We started the shoemaker protocol. I've been slowly starting to get better and better and better. And to couple that with the carnivore diet has been key because the grains and the chemicals, that triggers my autoimmunity, my inflammation. So I'm eating this low inflammation diet. My food reactions have significantly gone down. My numbness has gone down. Almost all of my symptoms are gone since going carnivore and looking around at my environment and changing my environment, cleaning it up, and starting the shoemaker protocol. So here we are today. I'm consistently below 160, which that's not something that I was ever, like the Biggest Loser, I got down to 161 for 5 minutes. In high school, I was 165. After gastric bypass, I got down to 165 for 5 minutes and then started going back up. So beating the 160s is a big deal. And I have been maintaining it for a year, just about a year, almost a year now. So the maintenance, the food freedom, when you eat meat, you get to be full, where all the other diets, you don't get to be full. You're trying to moderate these really addicting foods. So no more moderating addicting foods. Avoid them. No more processed foods. I just eat meat. Now, so I get to be full. I get to have food freedom. Now, what am I working on now are, as part of the shoemaker protocol, I've had brain scans and stuff done. I have some atrophy from all the inflammation, from having chronic inflammatory response syndrome, from the different events that have happened. So we're still working on hormones. We're still working on thyroid. It's still an experiment every day. So I'll share you guys in as I continue to experiment. Ultimately, I'd like to lose this last 30 pounds. I would love to do that, but I have some things to heal. So while I'm healing them, I will keep you guys posted. Please follow, like, subscribe, to just follow the journey as I just continue this last part here of finishing my healing. So some things would be like the perimenopause symptoms, sometimes I get brain fog still, but overall, that feeling inside my heart of anxiousness, gone. Hypoglycemia, gone. I used to have chronic itchy skin, gone. Neuropathy, gone. I feel so much better. I can never imagine going back to what I was doing before because I didn't feel good. And I want to feel good. This is definitely the feel good diet. I also don't love to go to bed hungry. And I feel like some of those other foods, because my hunger cues weren't being hit properly, I was constantly hungry. Like it was like I was never satiated. So now I'm satiated constantly. I've experimented with different things, the lion diet, sardines, different things throughout time. And I'm going to continue to experiment, let you guys know how it affects my body. I also want to just show you guys my healing journey. So please like, subscribe, and follow on as we continue this journey. And thank you for watching.